Whether you're a student, a pro in your field, or just someone who loves picking up new things, we all hit the same wall, don't we? How do we make the time we spend studying actually stick? So let's get into the science of what really works for learning, and maybe more importantly, what really doesn't.
Oh yeah, you know this feeling? Picture it. That crazy mix of adrenaline and pure panic. The clock is ticking, the pressure is on, and you're staring at a mountain of material you have to somehow get into your brain before sunrise.
So what do? We fall back on what we've always done, right? We crack open the book, grab that trusty highlighter, and start painting the pages neon yellow. We read the important parts over and over and over, just hoping it all magically sinks in. I mean, it feels super productive, doesn't it?
And it's not just you. It feels common because it is common. One survey found that a whopping 84% of students use rereading their notes and textbooks as their #1 study strategy. It is, by a long shot, the most popular tool in the box.
But here's the question that changes everything. What if that feeling of being productive is just, well, a feeling? What if the methods we rely on the most are actually the ones that fail us when we need them?
So first up, let's really take a hard look at how most of us are studying and why those go-to techniques like rereading and highlighting are pretty bad at building knowledge that actually lasts.
Okay, so the heart of the problem is this powerful little trick our brain plays on us. It's a cognitive trap that makes us feel like we're learning when really we're just spinning our wheels. It's called the illusion of knowing. So what on earth is this illusion? Well, it's when we mistake being familiar with the words on a page for actually understanding the ideas behind them. See, as you reread a chapter, the words start to look more and more familiar, your brain processes it faster, and you think, oh yeah, I got this. But that ease, that fluency, that's not the same as mastery. Not even close. And this quote from the book, Make It Stick, just hits the nail on the head. Just because you can recognize phrases from your notes doesn't mean you get the big picture or know how to use the information. You've basically just memorized the script, not learned how to act. Let's just break this down. Familiarity, that's totally passive. It feels easy, and it gives you this dangerous false confidence. But the knowledge is super shallow, and it just vanishes. Real understanding, though, that's active. It's hard. It feels difficult because you are literally doing the heavy lifting of building strong, long-lasting knowledge in your brain. Okay, so if rereading and highlighting are out, what are we supposed to do instead? Well, the good news is decades of research have pointed us to some incredibly powerful strategies. It's time we built ourselves a better toolbox for learning.
Yeah, forget that one worn-out hammer of rereading everything. What we need is a whole set of effective tools that are actually proven to get the job done. And the science points to two that are, hands down, the most effective of them all.
Meet the two superstars of effective learning. Practice testing, you can just think of it as self-quizzing, and distributed practice, or simply spacing it out. These two have been shown again and again to boost learning for people of all ages, in pretty much any subject you can think of. So, why are they such game changers? Well, practice testing isn't really about getting a grade. It's a learning tool. The actual effort of trying to pull information out of your brain, that little bit of struggle, that's what makes the memory stronger. Plus, it gives you brutally honest feedback on what you really know versus what you just kind of recognize. And distributed practice, it works because it directly fights our brain's natural desire to forget things. By spacing your studying out, you let yourself forget a little, which forces your brain to work harder to retrieve and relearn it. And that extra effort is what makes the memory permanent. It is the literal opposite of cramming. Now, what if we could take these ideas and combine them into an even more powerful technique? One that's amazing for problem solving and getting a really deep understanding. Let's check it out. This next one is called interleaved practice. So instead of studying one topic in a big, long block, which is called massed practice, you mix things up. In a math session, for example, you wouldn't do 20 problems of type A, then 20 of type B. No, you do one A, then a B, then a C, then another A. You just jumble it all together. Now this is where it gets absolutely wild. Just look at the data from this study on learning math. During the practice session, the group that did massed practice, one problem type at a time, they crushed it. They got 88% right. They felt like geniuses. The interleaved group who mixed it up, they struggled, man. They only got 43%. They probably felt like they were failing. But then, a week later, on the actual test, the results did a complete 180. The genius massed practice group tanked, scoring only 20%. And the group that struggled, they scored a 65%. More than 3 times better.
So why? Why does this happen? Well, because doing problems in a block is like having a cheat sheet. You figure out the first one, and then you just mindlessly apply the same steps over and over. Interleaving forces your brain to do the real work. For every single problem, it has to stop and ask, okay, what kind of problem is this? And then it has to remember the right strategy to solve it. That is real learning.
All right, so we've torn down the old, ineffective habits, and we've explored these powerful new tools. So, how do we put it all together into a simple plan you can start using, like tonight? Okay, here it is. Number 1, start with a quiz. Before you even open the book, grab a blank piece of paper and write down everything you remember about the topic. 2, plan your spacing. Look at your calendar and schedule a few shorter study sessions for a topic throughout the week instead of one monster session. 3, mix it up. When you're doing practice problems, make sure you're sprinkling in problems from last week's lesson. And finally, number 4, you don't have to throw your highlighters away. Just use them smarter. Highlighting is the start of the process, not the end. Use it to flag key ideas, and then turn those ideas into flashcards or quiz questions to actively test yourself later.
Look, rereading and cramming feel easy because, well, they are. But effective learning is supposed to be active. It's supposed to feel a little difficult sometimes. It requires effort. But with the right tools in your toolbox, that effort pays off with knowledge that actually lasts a lifetime. So now you have the tools. The only question is, what are you going to build?